Coming live from the Memphis airport. We are going to be, my wife and I, going on a little trip the next few days here. Our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, obviously watching things very closely back at the studio over that point in time. I'm kind of testing to see if we can make this work with me just, pulling it up on the iPad and triggering it all myself as we do that. But also, new things. Obviously, we're watching a tropical invest down in the near the Florida Panhandle, near Florida Peninsula, that has been causing some major flooding issues down there in Florida over the last 24 hours in particular. That has some potential to develop into a full-fledged tropical disturbance, what we call a tropical MVES. I think 93L is the computer name that basically is we're investigating that we're watching. I thought now was probably a pretty good time to be able to go ahead and show you how the app works with tropical stuff, because this is that time of year where that becomes a much more significant issue. So I'm going to pop open my app on my phone here. It'll take a moment because I'm also using the exact same hotspot for both of these though. So let me go over here to the radar here. And of course, the radar layer, the interactive radar, is going to be the layer that we're largely using. I'm going to stop this from following me, so hopefully it can focus on what we're trying to show here for a second. But if you go in the upper left-hand corner, there's a gear icon there that you can tap. We'll go and tap that. It may take me a couple taps in my case. And in particular, we're going to be looking at overlays. See where it says overlays there in the middle? You tap on overlays, a couple important things to show up on there, but one of those is going to be your NHC tropical cone and also the spaghetti models. We'll start with the tropical cone because it's not going to show anything at this point. There's no official tropical track on this one yet, but if you have the same ones where you have a tropical disturbance, full-fledged tropical system, that will then show up on there. You'll be able to tap on that. It'll give you more information, show you the exact track that is supposed to go. In this case, with these what we call tropical invests, and this is kind of a cool thing. We could put on what we call the spaghetti models. And the spaghetti models are kind of important because it allows us to be able to kind of see what the individual projections kind of show on the way in which things can end up going here. So in that case, we put that on. I got a lot of other things on this overlay there, but we're looking at those lines, and they show kind of the center point where the first, where the models, if I try to get where there's less reflection there, where it kind of initiates from, and then kind of where it's going from there, showing that this particular system expected to track with primarily heavy rainfall there across the Florida Panhandle, and then do something, come north somewhere, potentially here in Mississippi, possibility. Now, here's what we need to know. This is kind of cool, and these are models. Again, we're talking about models, and it does like tap on there, and you can kind of get some times to show the specific models. But what does any of this actually mean? The way in which I use this data and the way in which I recommend you use this data is when you typically have a tight grouping of these, that's when we feel high confidence on where this is going. A very weak system, and that's what this is going to have a very wide grouping. I mean, you look at toward the end of this where it has it. Some of these have it going, all the way back to Texas, and others go all the way back to the Atlantic. That should tell you it's an extremely weak system, and so extremely low confidence on where this is going to go. And in all likelihood, impacts as far as North Mississippi are concerned should be limited. There'll be some rainfall with this, depending on the track. The flooding rainfall is most likely to stay south. It's not expected to be fast moving, but most of our projections don't have a lot there. So that's kind of simple, but that's the way in which the tropical layers work. And it's kind of cool, I think, that you can get those the spaghetti models even before the National Hurricane Center puts out their exact track. A note on these particular projections: there are some that are better than others when we look at this. Some that are, in particular, that like this TVCN is actually a pretty decent one that I kind of have highlighted there. I'll see if I can tap it and make it go away. It puts kind of a white outline on it when it's something that's highlighted there. So that's one. And there are a few others. I always relabel these, but so I'm gonna have to actually go back in. I think the TVC E, as it pops up there, is actually another one of the decent ones that you can check. So most of them have them what we call recurving back toward the east. That's the most likely expectation. And that's going to happen at some point. But this is a really, really weak system, and there's a decent chance it doesn't develop even into a full-fledged tropical disturbance. So anyway, that's the way in which you can use it. If you're on vacation, obviously that's good. And I recommend turning on a lot of the other alerts as well under overlays where it has the alerts there. If you want the severe thunderstorm warnings, everything else, that's what I recommend. Storm tracks are kind of cool. I mean, you can put too much stuff on this. I'll be honest, but storm tracks are cool because it gives you kind of time of arrival on some of when the storms get into your area. So anyway, I would, if you're going to be doing a traveling toward the coast or you're interested in this kind of weather, make sure to turn on where it says NHC tropical cone and spaghetti models there. Those are the two things I certainly recommend. But yeah, other noteworthy thing, obviously, on those alerts, and I'll wait for my data to kind of populate in here. We do have those excessive heat advisories that have been issued for locations back out in the Delta, Southwest Delta in our area. Um, so those in effect because those heat index is expected to be in excess of 105. That means obviously dangerous heat a possibility. So be smart, be safe, and we'll be okay like that. Take frequent breaks. It's hot this time of year. So anyway, someone was asking a moment ago what the app name is. We've got a QR code for that. Let me pull it up on my phone here. Let's see how to do it. But you're looking for Mississippi Live Weather. That's Mississippi Live Weather for iOS. That is your QR code. And so you can probably just snap a screenshot of the screen and pull that up there. I'll give you a few more seconds to let that do its thing. But yeah, you pull that up and you're in good shape. And it will, we do stream our live broadcasts at 5, 6, and 10. I think at some point, again, we'll change it to 5, 6, and 9. And then on this one here, it might have had something else popped up in the corner there. So I'll give you another clean shot there in case it didn't scan. Um, And then for Android, that is going to be your QR code there. So, snap a screenshot of that, download it. Of course, we'll have updates as necessary. But for those of you joining a little late, I am blessed that I'm going on an out-of-country trip that was planned for the launch of this with a group of people from here in North Mississippi going up to Canada. So really excited about that. Yeah, so we're in the Memphis airport getting ready to do that. Here's that iOS QR code just in case you want it one more time. But yeah, so we're waiting on our flight that takes off here at noontime. Gabe is watching things closely. We have some backup there just in case he needs extra backup. And as you can clearly see here, we can go live from anywhere. So if necessary, we might end up doing a few, I don't know, depending on if Mrs. Lawpon allows it, we might do a few little lives up there if we get to some particularly pretty spots up into Canada. But we send back some videos, so hopefully you can enjoy that there. So appreciate y'all. Algoma, Calhoun City, uh, yeah, and everyone else that's supporting us here. And again, want to give some big shout outs to some of our early sponsors here, as well as you saw last night. We revealed the Weather Center, brought to you by the folks over at Room to Room Tupelo, Miss Lisa, and those folks. We're just so blessed. They partner with so many great organizations, and the fact that they have chosen to partner with us is just very, very humbling. We're just so thankful of the support to ultimately be able to bring you this, because as you might imagine, this all costs money. And from the very beginning, I decided that I did not want to charge you money for this because I think we have enough eyeballs. We can get sponsors and messages out. And I think that, benefit them. And so just please support, our sponsors to show them that this is something that you're watching. So if you can, please do that. And we appreciate that. Appreciate good folks at Absolute Cleaning and Restoration. Also one of our, beginning sponsors here. The first commercials you saw here on Mississippi Live Weather from them over the weekend. And we're just so excited. They do mold remediation, in particular mold prevention. There's a lot of cool stuff that they do. So, check out Absolute Restoration. It's kind of cool. You think about, a restoration company, okay, disasters happen. Now we're trying to fix it. But they have some preventative things there that I think when you start talking about, health and wellness, that I hadn't thought about, especially, and we'll have opportunities to talk about that going forward. But especially, like I wasn't thinking about, conventional foundation, wet, mold that develops down there and how that affects air quality. But again, there'll be opportunities to talk about that. The good folks at Tupelo Smiles, also, sponsoring us here on Mississippi Live Weather. So, if you have dentistry needs, check them out. We're just very thankful. And then First Choice Bank as well. We do think we'll have some other folks coming on soon, but First Choice Bank, they're out of Pontotoc and growing quickly. So check them out. And again, support all the folks that are supporting us here on Mississippi Live Weather. We really appreciate that. Um, and hopefully have a few other very, very awesome announcements come up here pretty soon. So, with all that in mind, I appreciate your safe travels, your prayers as we're going doing this. Gabe definitely has things, and maybe we'll get really lucky in this tropical system to go a different direction. I don't expect it to get super strong. It will strengthen, and the water there in the Gulf is strong, so it would not at all be shocking if it exceeded expectations. Um, so hopefully that's not the case. And certainly if you have trips that I'm going up north to the cold and you're heading down south to the warm, hopefully things go well for you down there. Okay. So I think we'll probably wrap this up here. And appreciate, all your prayers and thoughts and congratulations as we go through this. So just thank you so much for supporting us, supporting the businesses that support us. And we look to bring a lot more folks on here very soon to continue to kind of, um, you know, help advertisers this part of the state. And certainly they help us to be able to bring you this product. Okay. Well, we will see you live once again this evening. Gabe will be on at 5 o'clock, tracking the little showers and thunderstorms end up popping up. We can't completely rule those out, though. This is luckily one of our drier days, hopefully. But I know a lot of folks still want the rain, but you know how that goes. Anyway, it's that time of year. So it's going to be hot. Stay cool. We will see you again coming up tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock.